Welcome to The Explainer, where we dig into big ideas by going straight to the source. Today, we are tackling a huge question about power, one that's just as real now as it was 500 years ago. All right, let's just jump right in with the question that this, young French law student, Etienne de La Boétie, was wrestling with almost 500 years ago. He was looking around and was just baffled. How is it possible that millions of people submit to the will of a single ruler who's often, let's be honest, not that impressive? And get this, he wasn't just talking about people grudgingly following orders. He was floored by the sight of what he called willing servility. He called it a monstrous vice, something that goes way beyond just being afraid. So yeah, that observation, that's the central puzzle of his incredible essay, The Discourse of Voluntary Servitude. He really wanted to get to the bottom of how power actually works. And the answer he came up with was, frankly, shocking for its time, and still is. He basically said, look, a tyrant has 2 eyes, 2 hands, 1 body, just like the poorest person he rules over. The power he has isn't his own. It's borrowed. Or, more accurately, it's given to him by the very people he's dominating. So if the people are the real source of a tyrant's power, what's the secret then? I mean, how does that power transfer actually happen? Well, La Boétie came up with a name for it: voluntary servitude. It's this wild idea that people actually consent to their own oppression. Now, this isn't some clear, conscious choice, but more of a messy mix of habit, getting tricked, and just looking out for number one. Okay, so if power is given by the people, it can be taken back by them too, right? And this leads him to a totally revolutionary idea about how you find freedom. It doesn't mean you need a bloody war or some violent coup. This quote just nails his whole point. The road to liberty is actually pretty simple. Just decide to stop consenting. Stop holding the tyrant up. The power is with the people, and they can take it back just by making that choice. But that, of course, brings up the million-dollar question. If it's really that simple, why do people keep on obeying? Why don't they just, take their consent back? Well, La Boétie had some thoughts on that too. He basically breaks it down into 3 main reasons. First up, you've got custom. I mean, think about it. If you're born into chains, you might just think that's how the world works. It feels natural. Second, there's diversion. This one's a classic. Rulers have always known that bread and circuses, all the entertainment and freebies, are a great way to keep people distracted so they forget what real freedom even feels like. And finally, there's deception. This is when tyrants wrap their worst actions in the language of the public good, trying to sell you on the idea that your own servitude is actually for your own benefit. What's so wild about this is how it shows that control is often all in your head. It's about shaping how you see the world, managing what you pay attention to until you completely forget there's any other way to live. But, it goes even deeper than these psychological tricks. La Boétie pointed to something even more powerful, what he called the absolute core secret of how domination works. He realized it wasn't just about fooling everybody. Tyranny is an actual system where a whole bunch of people have a direct, personal, financial reason to keep it going. He pictured it like a pyramid. At the very top, you have the tyrant. He bribes a tiny inner circle, maybe 5 or 6 people. Then, those 6 bribe another 600 people below them, and those 600 control 6,000. It keeps going down the line until millions of people are tied to the system, each getting their own little piece of the action. So here's the kicker. The tyrant doesn't rule alone, not even close. He creates this huge network of accomplices who help him keep control because they're getting paid, in a way. They become all the little tyrants under the big tyrant. Okay, so if the system is that deep, with so many people bought in, how in the world could you ever take it apart? Well, La Boétie brings us right back to his beautiful, simple, central point. He says it again, you don't need an army, you don't have to storm the castle, the answer isn't about adding more force. It's about subtracting your support. That whole complicated pyramid of power, it's actually incredibly fragile. Why? Because it's all resting on the obedience of the people at the very bottom. And here it is, his most powerful image. He says to picture the tyrant as this giant, towering statue. A colossus, right? It looks invincible. But here's the secret. That whole massive thing is balanced on a pedestal. And that pedestal, that's us. That's our consent. The moment we decide to just walk away, to pull that support out from under him, the whole thing just comes crashing down. It can't support its own weight. So let's just recap. The core ideas from La Boétie all the way back in the 1550s are still so relevant. All power, even the worst kind, comes from the people. It's held in place by mind games and a whole network of people who profit from it. And the ultimate key to freedom? A mass, nonviolent withdrawal of that support. And that really leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. La Boétie's idea was kind of abstract, but what it means for us is very real. In our world, with its complex governments, global corporations, and social media, what does it actually mean to resolve to serve no more? What does withdrawing consent even look like in the 21st century?